So gentlemen, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log, which is a podcast for the Air Force Lifecycle Management Center community on topics of interest. And the topic of interest today is learning something about the supply chain for the MQ-9. So if you could, gentlemen, just introduce yourselves and give us a little bit of your career background. We'll start with Sergeant Piedrahita.
Hey, how you doing? I'm Tech Sergeant Piedrahita. I've been in 13 years. I'm currently stationed at Robins Air Force Base. I work the MQ-9 sustainment program here. I enlisted in March 2009. I'm originally from New York. I spent my first 7-8 years at Shaw. Then I did a year in Korea. Then I went back to Shaw for a couple more years, and then I got lucky and I got here to Robins. I say lucky because this is a pretty cool program. This is, this is kind of like working at corporate level. So our decisions here affect directly affect the warfighters out on the field. And I actually just got, this is actually my last month here on the program. I just got orders to McGuire, New Jersey. So I'll be leaving in about a month or so.
Yeah.
Over.
And you also came out on the Master Sergeant list yesterday. So congratulations for that as well.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So we can't not mention that too many times. So what is your career field actual? Are you're a maintainer?
Oh, yeah. So I'm actually a maintainer by trade. I'm electronic warfare. I work the back shop. So I work with F-16s and A-10s. I never really had experience on the MQ-9s, and I never really worked the flight line. But I have maintenance background, and coming to this job, it was definitely a learning curve. Not only did I have to learn the platform, the MQ-9 and everything, I also had to learn like the supply chain, the logistics, the acquisition, the contracts, program management. So it was a lot, but definitely I've been here for 3.5 years, and it all came together, and it's made me well more developed than when I first came here.
Great. Okay. And Sergeant Tahir, introduce yourself, please.
Yes, sir. How you doing? I'm Sergeant Tahir, and I joined the Air Force in 2006, so I'm hitting 16 years. And my first base was Mildenhall, and then it went to Seymour Johnson, and from there it was Kunsan, Korea, and from Kunsan I went to Nellis, and then I just got to Robins from Nellis a year ago. So I've been on this program, MQ-9 supply chain, about just a year now. So this is a whole new program, and I've been excited since day one. And it's real important what we do, because what we do is we just give them the new cameras so they can have the best vision and for the target, and keep the eyes on the target with the best quality. And so the pilots can do what they do from over here, because it's an unmanned aircraft. So, so I feel really important to the mission. So I'm really happy about what I do.
You're a logistics troop by trade?
Yes, sir. Supply chain.
Okay. And so what are, at the previous bases you worked at, what were some of the things you did?
It's kind of like what I do now. We issue out the parts that they need and require so they can finish the job as far as the maintainers, what they could do on their side. And I also worked in a warehouse where we like store the items on the shelves according to the shelf life or whatever the case, and make sure they have the proper boxes and this and that. And I drove a forklift and do stuff like that. What else? I also issued a chem gear at one point. That was my first base. So it's mainly like issuing parts and working in a warehouse. That's mainly what I do. So.
Okay, and you guys use like a giant database, I would imagine, or some sort of computer terminal or something to track all of these parts.
All right, yeah, there was different systems. At one point, we used a system called ILS, and that was very complex. We still use that, but right now we're using this program called Almas, I don't know if you've ever heard of Almas, but
Mm-mm.
it's new to me as well. So um, I feel like the further along I get in my career, the newer programs are getting a little bit better though.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you know, it's complex because you mentioned something about the shelf life of things, and that's something that it's not just a part, but you also have to have life left on that part. I mean, some things are like safety of flight parts that they can only
Right.
do X number of hours, and that's all got to be tracked as well.
Right, like O-rings, stuff like that.
Yep.
Make sure they don't expire because then it'll be pretty much useless. And they have the dates on the parts, so you'll know the manufacture date and all that. So.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get a better understanding. So you guys are both at Robins, okay, and you're both supporting the MQ-9 platform all over the world. Um, so Tech Sergeant Piedrahita, if you could explain to us, you know, what is it specifically that you guys do there to support units all around?
All right. So the MQ-9s, they're all over the United States, all over the world. And the OEM is General Atomics. So they're like the subject matter experts for everything. So they sell the planes to the US Air Force and worldwide. And then we do CLS, contract their logistics support over here. We manage, well, under the CLS umbrella, there's a whole bunch of stuff like sustaining engineering, depot repairs, field engineers, um, like new developments. There's a lot of things that fall under the CLS. So we're in charge of the budget. Let's say the budget's around like $400 million. You know, we kind of have to allocate the funds, and we're the middleman between the customer, like all the bases that have the MQ-9s, and General Atomics. So if a base, if they're having a problem with a certain part of the MQ-9, they'll coordinate with our office, and then we'll coordinate with General Atomics. Sometimes it might be an easy fix, or sometimes it might be a lengthy process that requires a new engineering change proposal to change the whatever piece it is. So we, and also one of our biggest things we do here, we manage all the field engineers. So a lot of these bases, whether it's stateside or worldwide, we have actual field depot guys working, like mechanics, technicians. They're from General Atomics, but we kind of manage them, and we do all the administrative processes, and we make sure that they're doing what they're contractually required to do. And that's a big part of the mission, because a lot of times when these MQ-9s are out in the field, the Air Force maintainers, they're only O level, so they're only allowed to do like kind of simple repairs and stuff like that. So if they're out in the field at one of our deploy locations, and one of the maintainers, if they're having trouble, or if they get kind of stuck, we have these field engineers there on site to give them real-time support to kind of get that plane up and running and to go on its mission.
Okay. All right. So you've got like these contractor maintainers that are stationed around the world.
Yes, sir.
To give support. Okay. Sergeant Tahir, so say you've got an improvement to the system, and you need to ship the new parts out to the field so that they can be done. The upgrades or the modifications can be done. How does that process work? How do you guys go through that?
Well, first we just make sure that we have the part number and the stock number and everything uploaded into Almas, our system.
Mm-hmm.
We can do that with a coordination through some item managers and engineers, and we make sure that it's uploaded before we order anything or transfer anything, and then we'll coordinate with ACC and see if they're authorized to have that part.
Now,
So,
do you arrange like shipment directly from the manufacturer, or do you like bring it into Robins first and then you guys ship it out from there?
no, it actually ships out from Jacksonville, Florida, and there's some item managers that work alongside the personnel in Jacksonville, Florida, and they work in McKinney, Texas. So we coordinate with the item managers in Texas, and they'll coordinate with the personnel in Jacksonville to ship it out from there, because that's where all the serviceable assets come from.
Okay. All right. So how did you guys find out about this assignment? Was this just kind of the luck of the draw that you got this job here, or was this a special duty that you had to apply for?
For me, it was luck of the draw. Like, I just had it on my list. I'm from Georgia, so
Okay.
I got lucky, real lucky. So, and I took
Yes.
I took a master sergeant spot too. So, and I'm just a staff sergeant, so I was pretty surprised.
That's cool.
Yeah,
So
for me,
you got family in the area, Sergeant Tahir?
Yes, sir. Yeah, they're a couple hours away near Stone Mountain.
Okay. All right. Cool. It's always nice to be kind of close to home and have that family connection. You
Yeah.
know? Sergeant Piedrahita?
yeah, for me, this is like a special development position for my career field. So I kind of actually got lucky too, because I was at Shaw and a master sergeant got this assignment, but he put in for retirement. So I was like next up on the list to get orders, and I got assigned here. So it's it was lucky, and it's also a special development for my career field. So it was good.
Now you said you're getting ready to leave. Is that correct? Or
Yes, sir.
and where are you going to next?
I'm going to McGuire Air Force Base, New Jersey, and I'm going to be working the avionics back shop there, doing all the avionics and stuff for the heavies.
Okay. So like the tankers and stuff, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And they've got 135s and KC-46s now.
Yes, sir.
So, okay, cool. So you get to learn a whole new platform. I mean, you're going from like one of the smallest airplanes to some of the bigger airplanes.
Yes, exactly. Yep.
So, all right. So that should be interesting, right?
Yes, sir. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And again, I'll be closer to home because I'm from New York, and I'll be a couple hours away. So I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. And so let's talk about your career goals going forward. I mean, I'm just kind of interested to know what are your plans for the future? Sergeant Tahir, let's start with you.
I would say my plans for the future is hopefully to make a tech sergeant pretty soon, and finish my bachelor's, and maybe even work for Raytheon one day after I retire from active duty. We'll see where at least this position takes me. I don't know. I'm pretty excited about that, or who knows? I might even get orders before I retire. So I don't know.
So you're going to night school now, or?
I plan on studying for supply chain logistics after I study for tech. So right now I'm studying for tech. So, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. You got to be focused for that, you know?
Yeah, right.
I mean, hey, promotion puts money in your pocket, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm trying to at least get the roof like Tech Sergeant Piedrahita. So.
There you go. Sergeant Peter, what are you looking for in the future?
So I just actually finished my master's a couple weeks ago. I graduated from Western Kentucky University. So I'm real kind of school oriented. So I don't know if I'll do it while I'm active duty. I would like to, but I like to pursue my PhD only because when I retire, I kind of want to entertain the idea of being like a college professor. And I know sometimes, you know, they kind of require that stuff. So that's kind of one of my long-term goals. Some of my short-term goals is, you know, being that I just made master sergeant, it opens up a lot more opportunities job-wise. So I might necessarily don't have to work like in a shop anymore, you know, so I'm looking to kind of expand like my leadership horizon and my scope of responsibility when I get to New Jersey. And also, I'm kind of looking into submitting a package for OTS and maybe trying to go the officer route if that door opens up.
Well, that's cool. So I'm always interested to hear about, you know, the importance of mentorship was something that we talk about a lot, and people have formal mentors, a lot of times informal mentors, you know, maybe even a colleague or maybe it's your supervisor, you know, but I just want to know, was there a mentor in your career, early in your career, or at some point that kind of like influenced you, maybe talked to you, you know, showed you the benefits of like making an Air Force career or something like that? We'll go back to Sergeant Tahir. Did you have somebody like that in your career?
I would say in the beginning, not so much, but I would say later on in my career, it progressed to having better supervisors and better mentors. And I also had my brother who was a prior enlisted, but he got out after 4 years. He's
Mhm.
kind of helped me too. And I would say more so my mentors are my family,
Mm,
but I didn't really have too much, unfortunately, in the
okay.
Air Force. But, yeah.
Sergeant Piedrahita.
Yeah, I've been fortunate to always have good mentors, and even, you know, from like, I'm not gonna say the bad leaders, but you know, even the ones that are kind of not so good, you can always still learn stuff from them. So I've had kind of informal mentors that kind of gave me stuff the way it really is, and you know, they made me feel comfortable to open up to them, and they would, you know, provide candid feedback. Then I had the formal leaders, supervisors that kind of were strict with me, you know, rule driven, and that kind of also taught me a lot. So it taught me to have kind of a balance with, you know, being like the strict leader and stuff like that, but also kind of being informal. That way, you know, your troops and stuff like that can kind of open up to you, and you can better lead them.
Yeah, you know, that's so important. I mean, because we learn through life by things that we do well, but we also learn through mistakes that we make, you know. And so a lot of times being able to look at the mistakes that others have made, you know, perhaps they weren't great leaders, but they can teach you something in the same process, in the same way that you can learn from mistakes. That's important as well.
Yes, sir.
So guys, it pretty much brings us to the end of our time. But before we close, I just want to see, is there anything that I didn't ask you about or anything that you'd like to add in? We'll start to Piedrahita. We'll start with you.
Again, excuse me. Again, it's been a great opportunity here at Robins. You know, we work at the program office, so a lot of the things we do here directly impacts the warfighters all around the world. We're in charge of a large amount of large dollar budget, and it's definitely been a great perspective working at this level.
Yep. And Sergeant Tahir.
Yes, sir. I feel like as far as with my knowledge, and I've only been here a year, I'm still trying to learn. Like every day is still, I'm trying to grasp as much as I can. I have great coworkers, counterparts like Tech Sergeant Piedrahita and my civilian counterparts who are trying to help me along the way,
Mhm.
like Abby Turner. So I'm just trying to like get as much info as I can, and I'm just blessed to be here as well. Because what we do is real important to the mission, and it's real like it's real gratifying. So I'm
Yeah.
just honored to be here, you know. So there was even like a movie I think called Eagle Eye that I saw on Netflix the other day, which kind of like talks about like the MQ-9 and like how they got like unmanned aircraft. It's pretty amazing. So I was like
Yeah.
watching that the other day.
Yeah, I remember reading recently about some Army troops, and they were in Afghanistan, and they were talking about being on patrol at night, and they were nervous because they were in a high risk area, right? And then they heard a Reaper come overhead, and it was on patrol over them. And they said as soon as they heard that, then they knew they could relax because somebody was watching them, and so they laid down and went to sleep, and they were able to get a little bit of rest because they knew they were being protected. So it's yeah, what you guys do is really important. It's super important. So, hey guys, thanks for joining us today on Leadership Log and helping us understand more what you do for the warfighter. And we really appreciate your time.
All right, sir. Thanks for having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, sir.
All
Appreciate it.
right.